Oh my gosh, sure. This is amazing. Oh wait,
Okay, let me just talk about the rest of the class. So we're kind of running toward the end. This is today, so we'll get the homework out today. I put it on the website already. It's due in a week. On Thursday, we'll have homework 7 given, but that will be due in slightly less than a week. So that'll be Thursday to Tuesday, I think, because of Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving's 2 weeks from today. And then after Thanksgiving, there's 1 week of class. And the last homework will be given on the 8th, sorry, on the 22nd of November, and the day before, the class before Thanksgiving, and due in a week. And this is the last homework. It's not ended. Okay. And so I think final will say final exam is Tuesday. So yeah, so actually, toward the end of this is how the quarter system works. I mean, toward the end of the quarter, things really start rushing. If you feel like there's something you missed from the midterm, you feel like you want to go over it and learn, try to take care of it quickly again, because it's better to try to get it done early, and that way it's not a huge rush to it. So we'll have the midterms back soon if we're still reading it, and maybe next week. So we'll try to get that done. Any questions about that? The rest of the class? So maybe we'll talk about the election maybe a little bit after we're done. There's a thing today in Royce Hall if you want to go to that too. There's this event today at 5 if you want to go. There's a ton of good speakers, including people in my department, and you might want to check that out today from 5 to 6:30 in Royce. Okay. Any questions? If you have time, you can talk about it today in class too. All right. Okay. All right. So, again, this is kind of very appropriate. What does democracy mean? Who knows? It really is true. What we're in now in American history is totally uncharted territory. It really is. Uncharted territory for political scientists, uncharted territory for democratic theory, a lot of things. So we really are, very few people can say, well, this thing happened, 50 years ago, 60 years ago. We really are in a new era. And hopefully we'll be okay. Hopefully we'll get out of it. Hopefully we'll survive. But we really are in a new era. Yeah. Okay, but what does democracy mean? Huh? People own the country, but what exactly do you mean by that?
Ultimate authority lies with the
Yeah, something about people, like democracy, demo means people, right? That's mean we'll be ruled by the people. But in actuality, so what does that mean, kind of?
People have a say in their government
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
well represented
And they say, how does that say usually manifest in a democracy?
through a type of vote, like
Yeah, like the vote, right, exactly. Okay, so what if we had a vote in which some people have 10 votes and other people have 1? Would you call that a democracy?
no.
No, right? So usually democracy means kind of like, why did, like if, for example, if you had to take a vote in this class and said, are we going to, I don't know, have class outside or not today? And 50 people said outside and 40 people said inside, and I say, okay, we're gonna go inside. You took a vote, everyone had a say, but the 40 people beat the 50. Would you call it a democracy?
No.
No, why not?
It's the majority.
Yeah, exactly. At some point you have to use the word majority, maybe, right? It has to do with more, one person, one vote, and a majority. Okay? All right, so most people would say that democracy is about majority rule. Of course, democracy is about a lot of other things, like human rights, rule of law, a lot of things, basic things like, well, a lot of people say that underestimated democracy is basically just sort of norms what you can and can't do. And a lot of the reason we're in a new situation now is because a lot of those norms are being broken or already have been broken. Okay, anyway, most people would say that democracy is about majority rule. Okay, so this seems like a pretty clear thing to think, pretty obvious what majority rule is. Yeah?
What about proportional representation in democratic system?
Yeah, that would be another kind of thing, yeah. But I guess what we're gonna say is today is really all about voting and how we think about that. So we can think about a proportional representation. Tell that to look. Anyway, it seems like majority rule is a very clear concept, right? Like we have a vote today whether we can have a class outside today. If 50 people vote for outside, 40 people inside, majority rule says we go outside. It's pretty obvious, right? It's not very complicated. Okay. But what does it actually mean? It turns out it's actually a relatively complicated topic. It's not obvious at all how you answer this question. So let me give you some examples. So we have 3 voters deciding among 2 candidates, A and B. Okay, so this is my little table. These are my voters, voter 1, 2, and 3. Voter 1 likes candidate A best and candidate B worst. Voter 2 similarly likes A best and B worst. And voter 3 likes B best and A worst. Okay, so what would be the majority, or what would be the democratic opinion or the democratic choice in A, right? Because if I take a vote between A and B, how many votes would A get? 2. How many votes would 1 get? But sorry, B would get 1, right? Okay, so A, since 2 people like A better than B and only 1 likes B better than A beats B by majority rule. It's pretty obvious, right? That's got to be super simple. Okay, all right. In a democracy, society should choose A. It seems pretty clear what the democratic choice is. Okay, so we have now 7 voters, make it a little more complicated, deciding among 2 candidates, A and B. So this is slightly more complicated. So like 1 and 2 like A better than B, 3 likes B better than A, 4 likes A better than B, and all 5, 6, and 7 like B better than A. Okay. What would be the democratic choice here? I think B, right? How many people like B better than A? 4? Yeah, 1, first one, 3, 5, 6, 7. So these 4 like B better than A. How many people like A better than B? 3. So 4 like B, 3 like A. The majority rule choice is B. B beats A by majority rule, and therefore, in a democracy, it seems like society should choose B. Okay. All right. Now, we're going to make it, again, a little more complicated. So we have 3 voters, but now we're choosing among 3 alternatives, A, B, and C. So now 1 likes A best, B second best, and C worst. Okay. 2 likes A best, B second best, and C worst. So 1 and 2 agree. 3 likes B best, A second best, and C worst. Okay. So who do you think they should choose in a democracy or by majority rule? A? Why? That's kind of obvious, yes? Yeah. Why would I choose A? Majority of people like A the best, right? Yeah. Okay, right. And another way to say it is, let's just do it pair by pair. If I go A versus B, who would win? So 1 and 2 are voting A over B, and 3 votes for B over A. So in a vote between A and B, A would win, yes? Okay. A beats B by majority rule. How about A and C? Who would win? A. In fact, everyone likes A better than C. Yeah? That would be unanimous. Okay. A would be B, C. What about B and C? Yeah, everyone likes B better than C. In fact, everyone doesn't like C. So A beats B beats C, and A beats C. So B has some kind of rationale. B beats something, at least it's better than C. But A is the majority choice because A beats both others, right? Nothing else could beat A. So A beats all other candidates. In a democracy, it seems that society should choose A. Okay, how about this one? What do you think should be the democratic choice here? B, because, let's check. Does B beat C by majority rule? Yes, 1 and 3 like B better than C. How about B and A? Yeah, 2 and 3 like B better than A. So B beats C and B beats A by majority rule. Yeah? B beats all others by majority rule. So there's nothing which could beat B. So we're going to say, so B beats A, yeah, B beats C. So it seems like B should be the majority rule choice. Yes? The democratic choice. What about C versus A? Yeah, I think majority likes C better. So B beats all other candidates. So in a democracy, it seems like society should choose B. Seems pretty clear. How about this one? Okay, what's the democratic choice?
None.
None? And why is it none? They're all kind of symmetric, even or something, yeah? Let's just check. Between A and B, who would win? Yeah, 1 and 2 like A better than B, right? So A would beat B. How about between B and C? Hold on. B will win, right? Because 1 and 3 like B better than C. Majority like B better than C. Yeah? So A beats B. B beats C. How about between C and A? 2 and 3, C beats A. So does anything beat all the others by majority rule? No. In fact, everything is beaten by something. Yeah, it's kind of like that. Yeah, exactly. So A beats B by majority rule. B beats C, and C beats A by majority rule.
But it doesn't.
Does it?
Why does it beat? Why does A beat B by majority rule if it's not a majority?
Oh, if A were to be, if A versus B, we made that vote alone. Okay? So I'm saying who votes for A? The people who would vote for A, if we did A versus B, would be 1 and 2. Right? Because 1 and 2 like A better than B. 3 would vote for B over A. So in a vote between A and B, A would win. The majority prefers A over B. Yeah? Okay. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. So voting between A and B, A would beat B, B would beat C, and C would beat A. So what would be the democratic choice here? D. Oh, go ahead. Kind of, yeah. It depends on how kind of the order goes. We'll actually do that next time. Who do you think it should be? Who wins by majority rule? Huh? Nobody, right? Okay. So this is a very famous example. Every candidate is beaten by some other candidate. So what does it mean to say that we should choose majority rule in this case? Does that even mean anything? No, it doesn't. Okay. Right. So in a democracy, society should choose what? And the answer is, well, we really don't know. Okay. So majority rule, although it sounds simple, and in certain cases it is simple, it's not hard to find examples where it doesn't mean anything. There literally is no such thing as a majority rule winner. Okay. So this example was discovered by this guy Condorcet in the French Revolution, about 1850 or something. It's called this Condorcet cycle or paradox. So this is a very central example in this literature. Every candidate is beaten by some other. And sometimes majority rule is meaningful. Like if I only have 2 candidates, am I ever going to have a cycle? Like if I just do A versus B and there's no C in there, am I ever going to have a cycle? Yeah. No, right? I'll just A will be B or B will be A, the end, right? So to have a cycle, you need more than 2 candidates. Sometimes majority rule is meaningful. For example, when there are only 2 candidates. Okay. However, sometimes majority rule just really doesn't mean anything. It's literally meaningless. There's no such thing which is majority rule. In this case, every single thing is beaten by something else by majority rule. Okay. So the purpose of this lecture is basically just to talk about how simple ideas of what democracy is and procedures, there's no best way in some sense. All of them have problems. There's no obvious way. in which to be the most democratic. Let's do, if you I think this example, Hunter's example doesn't seem too abstract to you. This is a real world kind of example. Say that the House is choosing among three alternatives: high spending, high taxes, low spending, low taxes, and low spending, high taxes. So these are the three alternatives. High spending, high taxes, low spending, high taxes, low spending, high taxes. So say the House is composed of three sections: liberals, deficit hawks, and anti-tax conservatives. So this is my example. So say you're a spendthrift liberal. I think that if you're a spendthrift liberal, you like high spending and high taxes the best. That is, you care most about spending, social programs, that kind of thing, and you're willing to raise taxes to support them. If you're going to have low spending, you don't really like that much, but between low spending and low taxes and low spending high taxes, you're rather go for low spending low taxes. So if you're the liberal, you like high spending the most, and the worst thing for you is low spending high taxes. If you're going to go for low spending, you'd rather have low taxes. How about the deficit hawks? The deficit hawks like best low spending and high taxes. They care most about reducing the deficit or whatever. Okay, so they care most about revenue. So they care most about high taxes, and they'd rather have low spending high taxes than high spending high taxes. What they like the least is low spending low taxes. If you're a deficit hawk. And here's the anti-tax conservative. They care most about reducing spending and also about reducing taxes. So they want to have low spending, low taxes. That's their best thing. Okay. The worst thing is the high spending, high taxes. In the middle is low spending, high taxes. So does this seem reasonable to you, kind of an example? Yeah, it could actually happen, right? And there are people like this. Okay. There aren't too many deficit hawks anymore, but there used to be a lot. Okay. So in this case, is there a cycle? Okay, so say we're thinking about implementing high spending, high taxes. Okay, so high spending, high taxes is on the House floor. What proposal would you bring up which could beat that?
Low spending.
Yeah, so the liberals and the deficit hawks are going with high spending, high taxes. But then what? Yeah, low spending, high taxes, right? The deficit hawks and the anti-tax conservatives can get together and say, hey, we'd rather have low spending, high taxes than high spending, high taxes. The deficit hawks are happy, and the anti-tax conservatives are also happy. Okay. So the high spending, high taxes is beaten by a majority. That majority is composed of deficit hawks and anti-tax conservatives. Okay. That's a low spending, high taxes. Okay, low spending, high taxes. Is that beaten by something else?
Low spending, low taxes.
Yeah, low spending, low taxes. Right here, the anti-tax conservatives and the liberals will actually get together and get low spending, low taxes. Right? That way, the anti-tax conservatives can get their best thing, and the spendthrift liberals can actually get something which is not their worst. Okay. So the anti-tax conservatives and spendthrift liberals would rather have low spending, low taxes. Finally, can something, yeah.
Why do the conservatives prefer low spending to high spending if they are being taxed more?
Here?
Yeah, either way they're being taxed more, they would rather have like people spending money in the economy if they're being taxed anyway, right?
Well, I mean, this is an example, but I guess the argument is that a lot of people are just really don't like taxes.
Yeah,
So-
that's right, but
Oh,
both
but-
of them are high
oh,
taxes,
between
not more
these?
important too.
Oh, there's also this idea that we should reduce the size of government. You know, so people say that, right? That so reduce tax spending, reduce taxes, that kind of thing. That's true. Going back, low spending, low taxes can that be beaten by a majority? Yeah, who would do that? Who would get together and beat low spending, low taxes? Yeah, high spending, high taxes, right? The deficit hawks and the liberals will get together and beat that one. Yeah. So you could have this cycle. Everything is beaten by something else. You kind of have an instability.
Do we see that cycle happening?
That's a good question.
I mean, it kind of seems like it.
Yeah. So remember, we talked a little bit about kind of instability, like in the last time we talked about if there's a center left right spectrum, people go to the median. If there's two parties, if there's more than two parties, you kind of spread out, or there's more instability. There's similar results here. In general, if you have majority rule, you have instability. Okay? So there's a few interpretations. One of that is that causes coalitions to form and change all the time. Another interpretation of what we're going to do later, which is that because of instability, somebody said this before, it has to do with the order you do it in. Because of instability, then you have a lot of power if you can control the agenda in which people make the vote. So in other words, that instability is kind of controlled by the people who are in charge, in this case of the House of Representatives, like the Speaker. Okay, all right, so liberals like high spending most and low taxes. Deficit hogs want higher taxes and most and low spending. Conservatives like low spending most and low taxes. And we have this cycle, okay? Going around, cycle. Okay, so when one candidate beats all of this by majority rule, we call it the Condorcet winner. Okay, after this guy Condorcet. So if one candidate can beat all the others by majority vote, then you kind of bring every other alternate next to it, and that alternate is beaten by majority rule. We call it the Condorcet winner. If you don't have a Condorcet winner, we call it, so this is the example of a Condorcet winner right here. Who is the Condorcet winner? We did this example already. A, right? Because A can beat B and A can beat C by majority. A beats B and A beats C. So here we could say A is the Condorcet winner. When there is no Condorcet winner, we have a so-called Condorcet cycle. Okay? So Condorcet winner means you can beat everyone else. Condorcet cycle means everything's beaten by something else. So everything's beaten by something else, you have a cycle. Okay? It's kind of like, you can think of like college football. So there's one possibility is that there's somebody at the end who's undefeated, who's beaten everyone else. That's unlikely. What usually happens is that everyone's beaten by somebody, but at the top there's kind of like a cycle of people who beat each other. Do you know what I'm talking about, kind of? Yeah. Okay, so there is no Condorcet winner, we have a Condorcet. So in this case, here is the Condorcet cycle. A is beaten by what? C, right? 2 and 3 like C better than C is beaten by what? B. And B is beaten by A, right? So everything's beaten by something else. A beats B, B beats C, and C beats A. And this is an example of the Condorcet cycle. So this is all right. So how do we deal with these cycles? How do we actually make a decision in this case? So what would you think you'd want to do if you have this kind of chaotic situation? Yeah.
Alternative voting
Yeah,
systems.
the obvious thing is like have some other way of voting. Like so, actually, there's tons of different kinds of voting. Can you think of any? You might know some.
Proportional
Yeah, proportional representation.
Voter ranking?
Yeah, exactly. So you can think of like college football or something. There's lots of ways people do the college football rankings. One of them is everyone puts a ranking in. There's like a point system and all these things, right? Okay. So there's lots of different voting systems we can think about, and we're going to consider just a handful here. One is called plurality voting, which is the most traditional. Runoff systems. This is what's common in the U.S. A board account, which is like a point system where you can give, not just vote for one candidate, but give points to lots of different candidates. And approval voting, which is another point-based system. Like when you vote for city council people, it's usually so-called approval voting. Right, so I'll talk about all these. Okay. Do you need them? Yeah. Alright. So let me give an example of plurality voting. Okay. Plurality voting is how they choose members of parliament in the UK. Okay. The deal is say that X, Y, and Z are going up in election. So there's 9 voters. 4 people like X best, 5, 6, 3 people like Y best, 2 people like Z best. So in plurality voting, you just vote for somebody, and whoever gets the most votes wins. Okay. So in this case, who would win this election? X, right? Okay, because 4 people vote for X, 2 people vote for Y, 2 people vote for Z. Okay. X wins. Do you think that's fair or democratic? Yes? Okay, well there's an obvious, it's fair in the sense that we're not treating anyone, we're treating everyone the same, right? Everyone's voting matters the same. Okay, but there's a reason why you might think X is not the democratic one. Yeah.
More people prefer someone other than X.
Yeah.
5 people would prefer either Y or Z versus X.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And for Y, for 5 through 9, X is the worst option.
Yeah, exactly, right. So here X wins, but if I had majority vote between X and Y, who would win? One, right? Because 5 people, these 5 people like Y better than X. How about between X and Z? Who would win between X and Z? Z would, right? These 5 people like Z better than X. Yeah? So although X won, in some sense X should be the worst, right? Because every other candidate beats it. You see? Okay, so what's a truly democratic choice here? Let's just think. Is there a Condorcet winner? Huh? Somebody says, why? Why do you think, why?
Because he's ranked either first or either best
No one
or
thinks
second
it.
best.
Huh? Yeah, exactly. Why is never known the worst choice? Why is kind of like a good compromise or something, yeah? Okay, if I do in terms of Condorcet stuff, is there a Condorcet winner? Yeah, who? Why? Does Y beat X? Yes. Does Y beat Z? Yeah, right? A ton of people like, 7 people like Y better than Z, yeah? And 5 people like Y better than X. Okay? So even if you just care about majority rule, if you care about, it seems like Y should beat X and Z, and Y is in fact the Condorcet winner. Okay? So which is fair, to choose X or to choose Y? I don't know. This is the kind of question you have to ask, yeah? Okay. So the plurality winner is the candidate with the most first place votes. In this case, X gets 4 votes, Y gets 3 votes, Z gets 2. X is the plurality winner. However, in this case, a majority prefers Y over X. And for that matter, a majority prefers Z over X. And Y is the Condorcet. So this is a very common criticism of plurality voting systems, okay, that it basically chooses somebody who, even a very small, like in this case, less than a majority like the most, okay? But it totally disfavors things like Y, where who is like everyone's first or second choice. So like in the UK, when you're like the member of parliament, you just have a vote, whoever gets the most amount of votes wins, even if that number is like 25% or something. So it's very possible that person could have been beaten by every other person in a one-to-one contest. So we might elect somebody who, if they went in a one-by-one contest with any other person, they would lose. So this is the common criticism of plurality. Does that make sense? Okay, how about a runoff procedure? How in the U.S. when we elect a member of Congress, do we use the plurality voting method? We actually don't. What do? We do this, like if there's 2 votes, so we have, let's say there's 5 or 6 people in the election. We actually just did this, and we just voted for Senate. We actually did this recently. Okay? You voted for Senate in California, if you live in California, right? You chose between 2 people, right? But how were those 2 people chosen?
The top 2.
Yeah, they were the top 2 in a previous thing, right? Okay, so in the United States, when you elect people to the House of Representatives or the Senate, you do first you do primary, but if you have 3 or 4 people in it, you do run a race, and if no one gets more than a majority, then what do you do? Yeah, you take the top 2 and you do this thing called then you have those 2 people vote. It's called a runoff election. Have you heard this? Yeah. So if you do an election, if no one gets a majority, then you take the top 2 and then just have those 2 vote. Those 2 go in the election. All right. All right, so here we go. A runoff procedure is you take the top 2, so you first do plurality, kind of voting, and if no one gets a majority, you take the top 2 and then have them go against each other. Okay, so in this case, who would win that procedure? So who is in the runoff? X and Y, right? X gets 2 votes, Y gets 2 votes, Z gets 1 vote. So X and Y are in the runoff. So between X and Y, who wins? I think X does, right? 1, 2, and 5 like X better than Y. 3 and 4 like Y better than X. So more people like X better than Y, so X wins. Yeah? So first everyone votes for their first choice. X and Y get 2 votes, Z gets 1 vote. Okay, then we take a runoff between the top 2 candidates. Okay, in that case, I think X wins. However, there's a strong argument against X, which is what? Z, no, Z. Why is Z better than X?
It's 4.
Yeah, actually, how many? Yeah, Z, so Z has never even got in the runoff in the first place, right? However, Z beats X on majority rule. Yeah? Okay, so we chose something which a majority would be, we chose X, even though majority would prefer Z over X. And for that matter, what about Z versus Y? Yeah,
Generally.
Z would be Y too. So it seems like actually, if anything should be chosen, it should be what? Z, right? Z beats X by majority, Z beats Y by majority, so Z is a common sole winner. However, why did Z not enter the runoff? Yeah, because Z's kind of a good compromise candidate, but only one person might see the best. Yeah? You see? So this runoff procedure is not quite as bad as plurality in that sense, but still, you can lose somebody who could beat everybody else. You could select somebody who's not a conversation. So this runoff procedure is not good at finding people who are kind of, everyone's okay with, but no one's first choice. If you're no one's first choice, you might be everyone's second choice, but you would never even make it to a runoff procedure, right? Because no one voted for you in the first round. Yeah? So in this case, we chose X through runoff, even though the condensate winner is Z. Z is everyone's second best or better choice, but only one person's first choice. Yeah?
Can you go back one step? Does X beat Y because of 1, 2, and 5?
Oh, between by majority rule? Yeah, if we simply had X versus Y by majority rule, who would vote for X? 1, 2, and 5. Yeah.
Okay.
And then Y, 3 and 4 would vote for Y. X would be Y by majority. Yeah, so you first chose X and Y in the runoff, and in the runoff, X people. Okay, so Z is everyone's second best or better choice, but only one person's first choice, so therefore it never even gets into the runoff. Okay. So here, X and Y are more polarizing. Note that X won because it's two people's first choice, and more people like X better than Y, but a lot of people didn't like X. Okay? Similarly, a lot of people don't like Y. Everyone's sort of okay with Z, okay, but Z never even made it in the runoff because it was no one's first choice. Okay, so these kinds of systems are not too good at finding kind of compromise candidates. So runoff and plurality procedures are not good at finding compromise candidates. What would be good at finding compromise candidates? Yeah, ranking or something like that. So notice in all these cases, you just will vote on kind of the best at any given time. So maybe I can give points to like a point system or something, or a ranking system. Okay, so like when they choose like the college football rankings, they do that. Right, so one of these things is so-called board account. Okay? And the board account you have, say you have n candidates, and the way it works is the first best gets n minus 1 points, the second best gets n minus 2 points, and so on, with the worst getting 0. So say that I have 4 candidates. Okay, so I'm a voter, I basically assign 3, 2, 1, 0 points. So the person I like the best, I give that person 3 points, the next person I give 2 points, next person 1.7. Okay, so it gives me a way of giving points to people who are not my first choice, but I like still a lot. Okay, not as much as my first, but I can give points at least I can vote for in some way, my second and third choice. And so you do those points, and you simply add up all the points, and the candidate with the highest total is selected. So let's do an example. Here's the board account. So here, 3 people have this order, B, A, C, D. 4, 5, 3 people, 4, 5, 6 have this other order, B, A, D, C. These 3 people like A, C, D, B, 10, 11 like that. So let's do the board account. Okay, so these 3 people put 3 points for B, 2 for A, 1 for C, and 0 for D. Okay, make sense? All right. So let's see, how many points would A get? Thanks. So how many points is A getting out of these 3 people? I think was it 3, 2, 1, 0, yeah? So 6, right? 2 each from these 3 people. Make sense? So 6 from these people, how many from here? Another 6, right? How many from here? That's 9, right? A is getting 3 from 3 people. And then how many from here? 6, right? So 6 plus 6 plus 9 plus 6.
Where'd you get the 3 from?
Oh, that's just the rules of the game. That's how. So you're assigning 3 to your first. So there's 4 choices. So you give 3, 2, 1, 0 points. You get 3 to the top, 2 to the second, 1 to the third.
It was n minus 1 for the first person.
Yeah. So n is 4, 3, right?
So is 4? Is it always 4?
No, I mean if it were 5 people, you get 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. That's what I mean by additive. Yeah.
Do you think of this as P values?
P value.
Placement value?
I'm not sure. I know what you mean.
P values, statistics of P values?
Oh, no, that's a different thing. Oh, no. Yeah. What is this? I mean, these are 3 voters, they all have the same preferences. I tell you, I just have to write it. So 4, 5, and 6 all share the same. Does this make sense? So, well, some people, so you can, if there's 4 alternatives, I give you 3 to the top, 2 to the second, 1 to the last, my third choice is 0 to the last one. Some people say, why can't I do this? Okay, I give you 4 to the top, instead if there's 4 voters. Is that gonna be different?
You could do that if if gaining points counted against your count.
Kind of, but the simple answer is, somebody said it. If I use this point system that is giving 4 to the first choice, 3 to the second choice, etc., is this point system different from this? No, why not?
For the highest.
Yeah, you'll add them all up in the end, right? So it doesn't matter. In this system, I'm basically just giving a point, one more point to every single person, right? So the outcome would, the result would be the same. Yes? All right, so anyway, let's just do it this way. Okay, so how many points does A get altogether? It was 6, 6, 9, and 6, right? So that's 27, right? Okay, so A gets, again, 3 people here get A 2 points, 3 people here get A 2 points, 3 people here get A 3 points, and 2 people get 3 points, that's 27. Okay? Okay. And how many points does B get? Out of here, B gets how many points? 9, 18,
That's all.
and that's it, yeah, exactly. 0 out of here. So B gets 18 points. How about C? 3 out here, so 1 point from these people, 3, 0, 6, right? And then 2, I think, right? 1 each from these two guys, right? 3, 0, 6, and 2, I think is 11, right? Okay, and then finally D, 0,
6, 12.
3, 3, and 4, right? We're getting 2 points out of here, out of 2 people. So it's 3, 3, and 4, which is 10. So who is the board account winner? A is the board account. Make sense? Now, is there an argument against A, by the way? A seems pretty good, right? Everyone likes A either as the first or second choice, so that's kind of why A won. Okay? I think A is pretty good. However, there is an argument against A, which is what?
It's split at the top.
Huh?
It's split at, if you say best, it's an undecided.
Well, of course, if A were literally everyone's first choice, there would be no even, we'd all just choose A. So,
Plurality voting, B voting.
huh?
Plurality voting, B voting.
Exactly. If we did plurality voting, B would beat A. Right? And even if we just did A versus B by majority, who would win? Yeah, B would beat A by majority, right? 6 people like B. If I did B versus A, 6 people like B, only 5 people like A. Yeah? Okay, so A seems the fairest, seems like a good democratic choice. There's also a democratic argument for why we should choose B. Yeah? Do we have a Condorcet winner in this case? Something which beats all of this by majority? B, I think, right? Because you have 11 people, 6 people like B is the best. Yes? These 6 people will basically impose B. Yeah? If they have a majority, they all like B best. If they like B, B will beat everything else by majority. Yeah? So in this case, B is a Condorcet. Make sense?
Why isn't A the concept?
Oh, Condorcet winner means you have to beat everything else by majority. Let's go A versus B. Does A beat B?
Oh no, because there's only 2 players on the show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, we don't have 4 players, yeah. These examples are carefully constructed to get what I want to say. Sometimes there's no difference at all between all these things. But these examples are set up so that sometimes you can see it. Okay, so notice this example is very interesting because it shows a very clear distinction between kind of majoritarian ways of thinking and kind of a more point-based system. So kind of which is the most compromised candidate here, we would say? A, right? Because again, everyone likes, either loves A or sort of is happy with A, okay? if I use majoritarian types of logic, however, I should choose what? B, right, because the majority likes B. However, is B a compromise candidate? No, a lot of people hate B, like almost half the people really hate B. Yeah.
So isn't this like the only truly democratic system that we see?
Oh, the word count system?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, it does fix the problem we had before, which is, it's good, it's much better at finding the compromise candidates than the things we did before. Okay, so that's a good thing. The reason is simple, right, because it's good at finding compromise candidates because you can vote somebody who's not your first choice, right? So in this case, A gets a lot of points because it's, A is everyone's first or second choice. If we use a plurality or runoff system, these people would never vote for A, right? They would always just vote for B.
Where is this done?
Huh?
Where is this loaded done?
Not a lot of places do this, yeah.
Why doesn't it work?
Well, okay, we'll talk about that later, but it has this advantage. So I think most people would say that we aren't creative enough at thinking about all these different kinds of voting systems. Okay, so like maybe we should try, for example, some people some professional societies do this, like for electing members, or like the Academy Awards does this kind of thing, so there's lots of different kinds of voting, but not too many governmental institutions do it. Although there's some activism on these things. Okay, but this is nice, and some people actually do argue that we should think about these more point-based systems as a way of better generating compromise candidates. Okay, so which is more democratic? Okay. There's an argument either way in some sense. I guess one thing you would say is, say that you're really worried about your society like not falling apart, like not going into civil war or something. If you're really worried about that, what would you choose? The voting count or you would choose the voting count?
I don't know,
Gary
because
Johnson.
why it's not done. You'd have to tell me why it's not done before.
That's true, yeah.
Before I make my decision.
But I mean, so there are examples of lots of cases where societies are kind of broken up because of some election. I think if they simply thought about the election procedure a little more carefully in the first place, to make it so that a compromise candidate was selected, they maybe would not have had this problem.
Say in our society, if we did this, all those candidates who were washed off would be on the final ballot.
Right. I mean, the only difference it would make is if there's more than two candidates. Obviously, if there's just two candidates, then all these systems are the same. So, yeah, it's possible. We could do something.
Maybe that's why it's not done, because it gets to be too many choices. They say the president has only a couple of colors in the suits, so that he doesn't have to make too many choices.
I don't know, some of it's historical, some of it is, it's hard to go back and change things. Like in the US, you have to have a constitutional convention and all that kind of stuff. But some of it, to be honest, some of it is because people just didn't really, most of this stuff was not really thought about carefully. Like, if you go back to like the founders like Jefferson, Washington, those guys, Hamilton, those people who were writing the Constitution, they really were not super aware of this kind of stuff. Okay, one of the reasons, so they were not super aware about how different voting procedures could have different deleterious effects, and it's because the social science of the period was not that well developed. Okay, so maybe if we were doing it again, we would do something different. Yeah.
But did they also not want or think about like the two-party system or like political parties? Or I think Washington didn't want political parties. So yeah.
I mean, there's all these different stories. Yeah. And you might know more about them. Another story people often bring is if we had this system, then the party system would be a lot different. But one of the reasons a party wants to exist is to kind of develop one candidate. So if you're a member of two parties, an existing party, you're having a hard enough time competing with one. You probably not want to compete with 3 or 4 other ones. All right. So anyway, something to think about. This is another case. This is a really fun example. It's a voter count for dropout. So here there's 7 voters, and 4 candidates. All right. So let's do the voter count. How many does I think A get? A's getting 6, right? 3. So 3 each from these 2 people, right? 0 from here. 6, 4, and then 0. Right? So A gets how many votes? 10, right? How many does B get? He gets 2, 0, 6, and 1, right? 9. How many does C get? 4, 2, 0, and 2, right? So it's 8. And D gets how, oh, sorry, Y gets how many? 6, 4, 2, and 3, which is a lot, right? 15, right? No, 6, 4, 2, and 3? Yeah, 15. Yeah,
Both of these examples, the last column is at one less than the other ones. Is it always like that with Word now?
I'm sorry?
The last column is here, it's just 7. Is it possible for it to be 7, 8?
Yeah, of course, sure, yeah.
And that doesn't that make it more possible for it to be a tie as well?
Oh, yeah, okay, so we haven't done any down to the times, but you can, of course, have, yeah.
That's the majority of
Okay, so who wins the board count system here? Y, okay? And, okay, so I'll make a little quote here. So you can think of these people as like figure skaters. And so each one of these people is like a judge. So there's judge 1 and 2, judge 3 and 4. Judge 1 and 2 give the most points to Y. Judge 3 and 4 give the most points to 8 and 7. Okay, so in this case, the gold, who gets the gold? Who gets, who's number 1?
Why?
Y does, so Y's here. Who gets silver? A. Then who gets bronze?
B.
B. Oh, let's just think. Is there a Condorcet winner? I think does Y beat everything else by majority? Does Y beat A? To these people, 2 people like Y better than A.
Why doesn't beat A?
No, Y doesn't beat A. A beats Y. Yeah, 4 people like A better than Y. These 4 people here like A better than Y. So A beats Y by majority. Okay. Does anything beat A? Does B, A beat? Yeah, these 2 people, and this person like B better than A. So B beats A. Yeah, by majority. Does anything beat B? C. Y does, yeah, or C, yeah. These 4 people like Y beat better than B or C better than B. Does anything beat C? Y, yeah.
Y.
So do I have a Condorcet winner?
No.
Instead I have a sign for the Condorcet. Anyway, we have a word count winner, a person's Y, second place is A and B. So you can think of these as figure skaters. That's a word count winner. Gold goes to Y, silver to A, and bronze to B. Now say Y is forced to drop out because of a drug test, they found EPO in his system or something like that, I don't know. Okay, so now we have this. Okay, so they can't do the competitions all over again. What they're just going to do is rescore. Okay, so Y is not in there anymore. Okay, so now there's only 3 skaters. Now how many points does A get? Well, here's 0, right? Now remember this, now the points are now 2, 1, 0, right, because there's only 3. Yeah? So now how many points does A get? Here's 4, 2, and 6, so 6, yeah? Make sense? So A gets 6 points. How many does B get? So 1 out of here is a 2, 0, 4, and 1, so it's 7. How many does C get? 4, 2, 0, and 2, which is 8. Okay? All right, so Y dropped out. You can't do all the competitions again, however, we will restore. Now who gets the silver? Sorry, who gets the gold here? C. Who gets the silver?
B.
B. And the bronze? Okay. Is this interesting to you? That's interesting, right? So before we gave the gold to Y, silver to A, and the bronze to B. Yeah? So it makes sense, obviously, if Y was disqualified. But now A totally tumbles. Yeah? Before A was better than B, now A is worse than B. And what's even better is now C, which didn't even get a medal, now it gets, gets to B, gets the gold. Does this make sense? So this is considered a flaw of the board account system, which is that sometimes the rank between A and B, or for that matter C, shouldn't depend on whether Y is in there. You see what I'm saying? When I get rid of Y, it shouldn't shuffle around the order of A, B, and C, but in this case it does. So C's the board account number. Before gold went to Y, silver to A, bronze to B. When I got rid of Y, of course Y shouldn't be in there, but when I get rid of Y, it shuffles around the order of A, B's. Now C comes out of nowhere to get the gold. The silver goes to B and bronze. So this is a flaw point-based systems. It kind of depends, it can depend on, the rank between A, B, and C can depend on Y's existence, which seems to be weird. Question about that? Okay. Why in this case, Y dropping out completely reverses the order of A, B, and C. Okay. This is another example of a point-based system. This is approval voting. It's like board account, except in the approval voting, each person gives a point to their top 2 or top 3 or top 4 choices. So instead of like 3, 2, 1, 0, it's like 1, 1, 0, 0. So you can vote for more than one person. Okay, maybe you can vote for your top 2 or top 3. And you just give votes to each of your top 2 or top 3. Okay. So can you give a point to each of your top 2, and all the points round up, and the candidate with the most points wins. So let's give you this example. This is a long example. So,
Why do you have to, like, why does it have to be like different numbers of people?
oh, why do I have to do it this way?
I mean, like not, cause that's, makes it hard to like calculate.
It is a little harder, yeah. But it makes it easier. I could have written the whole thing out, but it makes it easier to write at least.
Yeah, but like you couldn't have gone like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Oh, no, because
Is there-
these examples are carefully constructed to make it work. Okay, so yeah. You might say, are these examples really relevant? Maybe these will never actually happen. You know, these are kind of strange cases, but there's lots of work that shows that these strange cases are actually pretty common. Okay. Anyway, let's do approval voting the top 2. So everyone puts a vote on their best or the second best. Okay, so how many votes would A get if we did approval voting for the top 2? So, gets 4 from here, right? These people will give A a vote. 1 from here, 2 from here, and that's it, right? So A gets how many votes from the approval voting? 7. Yeah. How many does B get? 1 from here, 2, 1 from here, sorry, 3 from here, right? And then 2 from here, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? Oh, sorry, 8. Is that right? 8, yeah, B gets 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many does C get? This is where you just give votes to the top 2. Just 3, 1, just 4, yeah.
Is this the kind of thing that's done in Bolts where they ask whether you approve of a candidate or not?
No, this is just, you give your 1 vote each of your top 2. All right, and now D, how many votes does D get? 4, 6, oh, 7, yeah. D gets 7. Okay, so who wins if we did approval voting
It's a
top 2?
tie.
I think A. And you would. B wins.
I think it's,
What's C?
Oh,
What
one
did
question?
you see it?
C gets 4. The C gets a vote from these 3, and that's no one. That's the only vote C gets. Okay, how about if I do approval voting on the top 3? Okay, so here you give a vote to your top 3 people. A gets how many votes? 4, 5, 6, 7. Still gets 7. B gets how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. C gets how many? 4, 5, 8,
10,
10,
11.
Huh?
Yeah,
Oh, this one?
4, 5, 6. 4
4,
there, and then 5,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 11, 7, thank you. And D gets how many? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So who wins under this system? C does. All right. How about the board account thing? Oh, sorry. Oh, let's do plurality. Plurality would top 1 for plurality. If we did plurality, who would win? A gets how many votes? 4. B gets how many? 3. C gets how many? 3. D gets how many? 3. Who wins? A. Okay. Oh. How about the board account? How many points would A get? Remember the points of 3, 2, 1, 0. So 3 times 4, right? 12 out of here. 2 out of here, 14, 16, 18, 0, 0, 0. He gets how many? 0, 3, 6 and 9, right? 6 more out of here. That's 15, 17, 19, 20. Yeah? How many does C get? 4, 6, then a 9 out here at 15, 16, 17, 19. How many does D get? 8, right? 9, 12, 6 more 18, right? 21. Yeah? Okay, who's the board account winner? Okay. All right. This is a great example. Which is the most democratic choice? Yeah? Isn't this great? Literally, you can get any of these things to make sense. Yeah? Okay.
They're all better than a democracy or a dictatorship.
I guess that's true. Okay. What's the point of all this? Oh, okay. In a rule voting, the top 2, B wins. Okay. In a rule voting, top 3, C wins. Plurality voting, A wins. Under board account, B wins. Okay, so in this case, we treat everyone fairly. Everyone has the same number of points. Everyone has the same number of votes. This won't really exclude anybody. Yeah. Okay, but depending on the procedure, any of these 4 is defensible. So in other words, there's no obvious best democratic choice. Oh, is there a Condorcet winner? Let's just check quickly. Is A beaten by something? I think, what is a Condorcet? Actually, you can kind of see it already. Who is the Condorcet winner? I think it's going to be, oh, hold on. A beats, I think, well, 7 people like A better than C and D. It's A, B, C, and D. Does A beat B?
No.
No, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, a ton of people like B better than A. So A is beaten by B. Does anything beat B? C? I think C, yeah, C might.
Yes.
Yeah, C does.
Exactly.
Yeah, 4 people like C better than B. And then these 3 people like C better than B. Yeah, so C beats better than B. I think D might actually beat B as well. Yeah, B's, yeah. So B's beaten by C. B. How about C? Is C beaten by somebody?
D.
D. These 4 people like C better than, 5. Yeah, 6, 7. Yeah, 7 people like, or more, 8 people like D better than C. Finally, is D beaten by somebody? Yeah, D beaten by. Yeah. So is there a Condorcet winner? No, there's a Condorcet cycle. Yeah. Okay. Which was the most democratic? Okay. The big conclusion is there is no obviously best or most democratic voting procedure. Okay. Depending on what procedure you use, you might get quite different outcomes. So if you can choose the procedure, you have great power, generally. So this is why, like, capturing the House speakership or capturing the leadership of a legislative body gives you way more power in some sense than your actual votes, because if you can change the actual voting system or change the order or change the agenda, then you can actually have a huge freedom to get what you want. So we'll talk about agenda settings. Any questions about that? Yeah. Yeah. Like, so for example, in this case, we said that, A is beaten by, did you say A is beaten by B? Yeah. Why is A beaten by B by majority? Because if we get A versus B, these 4 people would like A better over B. I think, but everybody else likes B better than A, yeah? So if we between A and B, A would get 4, but I think B would get 9 votes. So then B would beat A with 9. Yeah.
Could you more clearly connect this to how it goes with what we've learned during the first part of class?
Yeah, so, well, that's a good question. Here there's no strategies, actions, or payouts in some sense. So, the next step we will do is more game theory like. So there it's like, so look, here we go. So, the next thing we'll look at is when you can change the procedure, what will happen? That will be more like game theory. It'll be like, so given that we vote in a certain order, what will be the actual outcome? How does the order influence them?
Can we do the homework with what we've learned so far? I'm not sure.
Oh, can you do the homework and what you've learned?
So far,
Yes,
we'll
yes.
wait till next week.
No, I think you're okay. We can talk about it a little bit. Want to talk about homework now?
I haven't looked at it.
Okay. We can start working on it. That's fine. Any questions? I think you're okay with it. We'll also take questions on Tuesday. It's due in a week, right? Yeah, so it's fine. All right. Any questions? Let's see. Oh, so we have 15 minutes. You can talk about the election. Do you want to?
Yes.
Okay, so I made my little email. You heard what I have to say about it. Now it's your turn. So just let me know what I'm just interested in what you have to feel about it. You want to talk about what? Sorry? Okay, just you know, just let me have a question, or just you can make a statement about it, whatever. Yeah.
Why are people protesting against someone who won legit?
Because he did it, he wasn't popular. He is really popular. Barely though. Barely? Barely.
Okay, hold on. Hold on, okay, hold on. Okay. So, all right. Okay, we'll just, I didn't realize this. Okay, we'll take this question over here. All right, go ahead.
I just think that like no one is protesting in the thought that like, oh, 200 students at UCLA is going to change anything. It's just to show that, yes, he may have won the Electoral College, but that's not it. You know, people are outraged, people are offended, people aren't safe. And we're not going to just sit there and take that and let it regress us like backwards. So it's frustration, and it's the start of more things to come. And yes, it's not the most effective, but there isn't really something effective that you can do right away. It's just to show like where we stand as a nation and to show the outrage. It's symbolic and it's a movement, but it's not supposed to be transformative in any. Well, I mean, it is transformative, just not right away.
I just have a question. Do you think that if the election had turned out the other way, do you think the other side would have a similar reaction?
Yes.
To express this in more unbiased terms, I think the reason that this is all happening is because there's such a significant clash of ideology between two people who stand for very different things, and two sides who vote for very different things. So obviously there's going to be mass protests and there's kind of
I was gonna say that I fully support people expressing themselves. That's what America's all about. I mean, I used to say people expressing their support. And as somebody who's endured many elections that were not in her favor, and without that avenue of expression, I say go for it.
Any thoughts? Yeah.
What's the point of us voting if elections are
Okay. You're here.
But like, I know there's like a form of protest that's like safe from like perspective, but also like, I don't get the point of burning the flag. Like burning the flag is like,
I like that.
kind of like giving a big like fuck you to the people that like fought and died for your freedom to assemble and your freedom.
So it looks like refusing to sing the national anthem.
We'll see. Let's take hands because I'm over here. Yeah.
Just in your professional opinion, do you think Bernie Sanders was a controversial winner for this election?
So let's do it here. Let's just do that. Let's try it. Okay. Sanders versus Clinton. Who would vote for Sanders? Who would vote for Clinton? So I guess Sanders would beat Clinton. 50 cents. Sanders versus Trump. Who would vote for Sanders? Who would vote for Trump? Okay. Sanders beat Trump. Trump versus Clinton. How many people would vote for Clinton? How many people would vote for Trump?
I voted for Trump.
Oh, so, okay, so I guess you're right. That's the answer, right? At least in this room. Okay, so, but you're saying the U.S. as a whole. No. But okay, this is an interesting point. The point is that Sanders never, we don't really know the Sanders versus Trump thing, right? We know Clinton versus Trump, but we don't know Sanders versus Trump, right? And for that matter, we don't really know Sanders versus Clinton either, right? So, I'm trying to think how you would figure that out. I mean, you can do it from polls, and there are often people who do this. They elect and go back and elect and say, who would have won had we done this procedure? So I think you'd have to do it by, like, getting opinion polls, right, and asking them, just asking those questions and see. Yeah. Yes, sir.
But if the procedure was different, then people would vote differently.
Well, that's true too,
Because
exactly
we
right.
should actually like look at votes.
Yeah, exactly.
And candidates will be presented.
Wasn't there polling back when it took Sanders compared to
Oh, that is true. Yeah. You take those.
That's 15 points against Trump. It was 8 points.
Yeah, that's right. Sanders did beat Trump in those polls, right?
Then again, Clinton beat Trump in those polls.
Yeah.
But Sanders were
In
better.
that's all it was.
One here, then one there. Yeah.
Going back to the electoral college question, the electoral college goes back to slavery, and so it has racist ties, so either way it can be described by racism. And then second of all, when it goes to the polls, there was a lot of talk about Reddit forums where people were told to hide their Trump support, and they're just like, so it just like maybe people not wanting to respond. And then there was also a boost in, there's a high voter turnout, but a lot of voter turnout was from people in small, poor towns in the rural areas. So it's like, who really went out there and asked those people? If they did ask, did they actually respond? So it's like the polls in this case, people are saying couldn't really show who the
Yeah, just a couple things. The electoral college is literally designed to give the South more power.
Yes.
In the system in the first place, because the Senate was designed to give the South more power. So yeah, the entire electoral college is rigged towards smaller states, and which continues to be mostly the South. But beyond that, yeah, let's just disregard all the polls here, because first off, putting Sanders in polls from months ago doesn't work, and more importantly, every polling model this election was pretty much wrong. So using that as evidence to your point is pretty much just using like really broken and flawed systems.
Yeah, so the electoral college, they were just mainly separate from the populace. They were supposed to Congress on their own.
Sorry?
And then it became more or less
I see.
so it wasn't just
Right.
and then another thing, we chose to put Johnson. And, for a long time.
Okay, over here.
From international student point of view, I just want to say that the electoral college is very, very civic sensitive. Because in red states and blue states, people know that you suddenly vote for certain candidates and there will be suppressions and not a lot of people are going out to vote. So turnout rate for US elections is always very low, 50%, 50%. But in Malaysia, our voter turnout rate is 80%, 85%, 90%. So our people are automatically registered to vote, but I really don't know why in the United States the voter had to register themselves. It's really unfair and it's meant to suppress certain type of voters.
And I think it's also the fact that there's not much voter ranking here. Voter ranking.
Oh, yeah, I see, right.
Like another international student perspective is that in most parliament democracies you just rank them and then you get coalition government.
Right, exactly.
That would have stopped any major things Trump wanted to do.
Right, it would be more compromising,
Yeah.
as you said, yeah.
But
Yeah.
coalition mechanism is unstable, right?
Yeah, there's something, there's
I don't know if anyone knows enough about the electoral college, but if more states had the opportunity to split their votes like Maine, would that have changed the effect of this election and past elections like Gore? Would that
We can go back and calculate it, it's not that hard to do, right? I mean, but, yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Probably wouldn't have, since if you look at the map of the Republicans who voted to Democrats, you'll see that the Republicans are like spread out entirely. They would have claimed a lot more.
No, but what she's saying is like if it was 51-49 in Wisconsin, then half of Wisconsin electoral votes would have gone to her.
Florida at least.
Yeah, something like that, yeah. But no, I think let's see, yeah.
I know there's like proposals, like abolishing the electoral colleges,
Yeah.
like not realistic right now. But there are proposals that states will pledge their
Right, I've seen those,
electors
yeah.
to the winner of the popular vote. So if you get enough states that would, that have 270
Right, right,
electors
right.
total, then
Right.
you kind of abolish the electoral colleges.
Yeah. Thoughts? Yeah, oh, yeah.
From a political science perspective, what would be the ramifications? From a political science perspective,
Right.
what would be the ramifications if the electoral college decided to disobey tradition and voted for almost unwritten law and voted for Clinton over?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's something done.
yeah. I think that some people think, again, I'm not a specialist, but one of the original ideas of the college was to be able to create compromises. And it was supposed to be like a deliberative body, but
The system that was supposed to keep people who have no experience in government away from
did you want to say?
29 states plus DC require the electoral college to vote on the popular vote, but 20 states don't.
Okay.
So 20 states can still decide the same company will vote for Hillary Clinton.
The fact that presidential candidates are elected like independently from like legislative and members of the Senate means that there's a possibility that the candidates will most likely not have political experience. Just because of the fact that they don't have to work their way up. That's kind of why they did that. And that was like one of the reasons of creating that system.
The way the electoral college is designed, they can like, it's basically like a recount, not like a recount, but like a final count that's happening in December, and they can change their votes then, but if we knew who the people of the electoral college was, like maybe we could try to persuade them, but we don't know who is in the electoral college, but so yeah, there's like a small miracle chance that like maybe it could get recounted, but it's never happened before, and so I doubt it's gonna happen now, but if we did know who was in the electoral college, I think it would have a bigger chance of happening.
But wouldn't that corrupt them? Wouldn't that have that would change the whole purpose of having it? It would make them like
Respond to popular vote.
Okay, maybe just two or three more comments. Yeah.
So it would make them to politicize them, no? Yes.
All right. See you. You can go to the thing today at 5. I think it's going to be pretty cool in Royce Hall. Thanks.
Yeah, no, there already is a proposal. Like, a certain number of states have signed.
Yeah,
Have signed the agreement. It's like we're up to